cases close, but some never rest. When silence screams, we listen. This is dead and wrong.
Hey there, I'm Liz,
And I'm Sam.
and this is Dead and Wrong, your weekly podcast about all things dead. People, ghosts, animals, you name it. If it's dead, we're gonna cover it.
And we are so
No,
sorry.
no. I am sorry. She has nothing to do with this. As I'm sure you've all noticed, I released episode 15 very late. Hopefully, this is the one and only time that's gonna happen. And I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this current episode, thankfully, episode 15 has been released.
I can't say anything. I wasn't here to help release episodes. But at least you guys are finally getting the bonus episode we told you about for a few weeks now. So here it is.
Yes, so these are the notes regarding the Cameron Todd Willingham case, but these are from the thoughts of active fire investigators today. So when I sat down and spoke with them, they basically gave me what
Hang on, can
they,
you refresh me on the Cameron Todd
I'm, I'm going
Willingham
to
case?
in the
Oh,
beginning.
sorry.
No, you're good.
My bad.
So basically, these guys gave me their standpoint on the case as a fire investigator and then actually what they thought personally. So I hope you guys enjoy this little bonus episode. So, as you
Bonus.
remember, or if you don't remember, Cameron Todd Willingham was the father who woke up to his house on fire. He had two twin girls, and a younger girl named Amber. This happened in Texas, and they blamed him for it, and he was executed.
Okay, I remember now.
Yes. So, when I was talking to them, basically they both pointed out right away that as a just like a normal human, not fire investigator, they said this case was complete bullcrap, that it didn't really make sense. They also pointed out, and some of them actually looked into this more than I did because they were just so interested in the fire investigation aspect. Stacy, his wife, completely turned on him.
Yeah, and I thought that was weird too.
Like they said from like the first year she supported him, she was there for him, and then she just suddenly one day went and said that while they were visiting each other in jail, he told her he was guilty, that he did it. So Stacy started telling people Cameron told her he did it.
Yeah, she was. Something had to go on with her to make her do that.
I there's still a part of me that thinks she did it, to be honest.
I think she did it too. I think she tried to, like, well, not try, she got away with it and blamed him for it.
So here's another interesting aspect is that they had later on some forensic arsonists come in and they tried to prove that there were issues with it because they wanted to stay the execution, which basically means they wanted to stall. But the governor didn't want anything to do with it. He said, nope, execution's gonna go out. So this governor had 375 death trials under his belt, and he only ever stayed one. It determines that there were a lot of politics going off during this time, and that they think that the governor didn't allow any more evidence to be played in because he just wanted the execution to go through.
So he was that type of person. He wanted it to make him look like he was doing a good job of punishing people.
There was
Mm.
even a Dr. Gerald Hurst who submitted new evidence and new fire investigation information to the governor, and the governor didn't even read it. He just threw it out and said no.
That shouldn't be allowed.
It shouldn't. At the end of the day, they just wanted this execution. Stacy could have gone forward and said, you know what, it was me, I did it. I still don't think the governor would have done anything about it.
No, I don't think he would have.
It was noted that two other scientists that later came on said that if this case had happened today, that it would not have been the same result. Even the two fire investigators stated that reading everything, it would not have been the same. The results would have been completely different.
Well, yeah, there's a lot more training and information that they look for, and that they've, over the years learned how fires move and behave.
hmm But the biggest thing with that is Douglas Fogg was Corsicana's assistant fire chief, and he had been doing the job for 20 years. Still to this day, he states he would stay by his original statement, even knowing everything he knows today. Which,
Well,
in my opinion, he just doesn't want to admit he was wrong. He doesn't want to admit that he basically helped convict an innocent man. One thing that they pointed out, and this is actually something that is the same for like criminal crime scenes, is that they conducted the first inspection 4 days after the fact. That's a big no-no. Like, you're supposed to investigate the day of. And because they waited so long, it's not like they kept cops or firefighters there the whole entire time. So there was no scene safety, I mean, no scene security. When you have a major crime or an arson, until the investigators say, like, hey, it's good to go, you can clear it, you have someone at that scene at all times.
right, but that's something we do in today, but that probably wasn't a thing then.
No, it was. We talked about it for some murders. It's always been a
Yeah, but
thing that you want to get to the scene right away. And look, you don't wait 4 days later.
what year was this fire?
It was
Because I know rules and regulations came
1991.
from. It might not have been a big thing to like have somebody at the scene and being there for like within amount of time.
I mean, true. But I do want to point from here that I'm going to be talking about what they said regarding the fire and how it spread and everything they found, and
The
then
investigator?
what today's investigators say about what that means now.
Okay.
So I do want to point out that everything that they talk about Fogg and his partner today, that's considered junk science because they realize a lot of it just doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So, for starters, with the whole scene security, there's a reason why, especially in the fire world, because you have the chance of post flash, which is basically the fire lit after everybody was gone. So, it can re-flash up.
Mm-hmm.
So when they looked at it 4 days later, some of that could have been burning by the time they put the fire out and by the time they got there.
So like relit itself and then created a new fire line.
Mhm.
Okay.
So they also explained that from the sounds of it, the room flashed, basically saying that a small fire had gone and somehow it got just enough oxygen that everything just kind of burned at once. Basically, think of like a fireball when it hits
Yeah.
ignition.
Okay.
They also pointed out, so I remember saying in here about the mattresses, how that's how they stated that it was a low burn because, so they also noted that the metal springs under the kids' beds were white. This indicated intense heat underneath the bed at some point. And I kind of pointed out this is weird because heat rises, and seeing how the springs were hotter than the ceiling, that made them weird. So they pointed out what was not pointed out in the primary notes of the investigation is that one of the mattresses was burned only on top. So the
And if the fire was
springs
on
were
the
not of.
floor,
It wouldn't have. So because the mattress was only burned on the top, that meant the heat was above it.
Mm-hmm.
So they do believe that more than likely it was a low burn for the place of origin, but it did rise. And obviously they didn't take the time to look for any potential source of evidence of what could have started it, and they said because of the statement about the mom stating that Amber would play with the heater and get in trouble. Today, the investigators would have collected it. They would have collected it as evidence because you would have been able to look at it and tell if it had started from there. Like, there would have
Right.
been signs on the inside. And all the detectives back then said was, oh, it's off, so we didn't do anything about it.
Right.
Even
They
though,
didn't put those two together.
even though Stacy said it was on.
But I mean, the kids could have turned it off, or the dad could have turned it off and just didn't remember.
Yeah. So they said that even after you like think you still have to rule out sources of ignition because there is a difference between a fire in a room and a room on fire. And this mainly is the change of the burn pattern.
A fire in a room is located to a certain spot. A room on fire means that it is engulfed in the whole flame. Yeah.
You can't just say, well, this is where it started because this is like the most charred. Like, yes, there could have been a fire in that spot in the room, but that
But what was around it to create it to be so
what
charred?
yes, what made it expand so quickly? What kind of sources of ignition made it expand so quickly? And you have to think, as most people think, okay, ignition like gasoline or paper. Like, that's not always true. You also have the bed. Like,
Your blankets, your rugs, your clothes, what kind of wood your dresser's made out of, or the curtains.
yeah. So you don't know. So, you know how he pointed out that he like had to crawl under the smoke?
Yeah, to get out the first time.
Yes. And you
Yeah.
remember how they said the path went from the room out the front door, and that's how he went?
Right, because then they were thinking he got out and then lit the fire from the outside in.
So the
Yeah.
biggest thing is smoke. If you have a room that's contained, all the smoke is going to stay in there, right? If the door is closed.
Majority of it, yeah.
Majority of it. When you open that door, fire is going to pull the oxygen and air in. When the oxygen and air gets pulled in, the smoke gets pushed out.
And it gives it a flash.
Exactly. So when he is crawling, because they even pointed out he didn't have any burns on his feet, he didn't have any burns on his hands. The thing is that when as he walks and he opens the front door, you now have an influx of oxygen and air from outside going inside.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going straight towards that fire. And as it goes towards the fire, the smoke is doing the opposite and going towards the front door. And all that smoke has heat on it. So the investigators I spoke with said it's actually possible that the burns literally followed him out because of the smoke. Because the smoke was following him because the oxygen was brought in from the door that he opened.
Okay.
And so that's actually how they think that path was. That it's not that someone said it, it's literally the smoke caused it. And I pointed out that they said that they found the weird puddles on the front porch, which is where they believe that he poured fluid from when he was outside. Yeah, so it said they stepped outside and looked around. The wood under the door's aluminum threshold was charred. There was also brown stains just outside the door, which was consistent with the theory of accelerant being used. So
Okay.
they think he like poured it, started the fire from outside, and then it went inside.
Okay.
There was a grill on the porch.
They didn't say anything about a grill.
I know. These guys that I spoke with, and they requested that I don't use their name, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to respect that. They said that when they looked more into it, there was a grill.
So there's already
So now you have
grease.
grease all over. Like, think about when you cook, you're going to get grease all over. You're going to get, back then, who knows, they probably had fluid all around it. And they didn't even take the grill into consideration, that it could have added to the problem.
Yeah.
And they said that part of the reason why it was just in the front where it followed them out is because they got there too soon and put it out before it could spread even more. Obviously, it was going towards where the oxygen was, which was outside out the front door, but obviously, smoke is still going to spread behind. But it
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get that much further because the firefighters put it out. They did note that actually flash will occur within 8 to 10 minutes. So basically flashing is considered from when the room goes from a room with a fire to a room on fire. It would only take maximum of 10 minutes for something small to start and the whole room be on fire. And it could go quicker depending on the fuel. At the end of the day, as long as it has fuel, fire burns very quickly and very fast. And it's a kid's room. Think of how much stuff is in there that could easily be burned. So they also pointed that I stated they began looking for what they call the V. The V is a pattern caused by an object being set on fire. So that's why they look, because literally the smoke and burns would just cause a V as
Mm-hmm.
fire rises. A V is nothing but a fuel load. Today age, literally, if you're in a fire and you see a random V, all it means is something was there that added fuel to a fire. It could have been anything.
So it's kind of like, I don't know how many people have done this, but if you plug something into a wall socket and it sparks and it makes two like burn marks or black marks on the outside of the plug-in, that's the fuel mark.
Yes.
That's what
So
it's
you could
doing.
have a house
I've
on
done that too many times.
You could have a house on fire and, dad's briefcase filled with papers could be randomly leaning against the wall. And when that catches fire, because it has all the paper there, that's a fuel source. It's going to cause a V to go right there
Mm-hmm.
because it was something more to add to the fire. So the guys I spoke with definitely stated that the science that was used to determine this was outdated and false. Basically, this case helped put into effect the big manual that all fire investigators go off of. The fire investigator, I can't remember the full name, but basically the fire investigator Bible, the Bible that literally tells them how to do their job, was
Didn't
it.
that come out like after this fire?
So it was in the process of being made during this fire. It was almost done. And then this case came out, everything started happening, and it finally got pushed. So they were actively changing the way things were, and this came out, and then pretty much all the big guys in the fire investigation world were like, oh no, that's bullshit. Like, that's all wrong. But this was still brought to the governor, and the governor didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's not like the governor would have listened anyways.
I also want to bring up that they spoke about the windows. The detectives did. It said the windows contain spiderweb patterns, which they call crazed glass. This is a key indicator that fire had burned fast, hot. Yeah.
Are you texting now?
That is definitely not true. It's
Is that?
basically it's the cooling of fire.
Yeah, the window is so hot, and then when it starts to
And
cool
then
off, it
cool air,
cracks.
it cracks. That's all it
Yeah.
means. It doesn't mean that it suddenly burned fast and hot. It's like, think of when you do an experiment with glass where you burn, like you put a glass cup on a stove, let it get really hot, and then you put it in cold water. It's going to crack and shatter, right?
I've never done that experiment before.
I've seen videos of it, but I've never done it. So,
I mean, I've done the experiment of microwaving something in a glass container and then sticking on a cold marble
and then it
table or
shatters.
counter, and then it shatters. I've done that.
Yes. And think about it. These windows are getting super, super hot because the room's on fire. And as it slows down, you're also having the cool December air hit the windows at the same time. So it's also rapidly cooling as the fire reduces and the cold air hits it. It's going to cool it off very quickly and then cause it to shatter.
Okay. Yeah.
So, another big thing when they came to talking about the case and how these detectives got to where they were, basically, you have a hypothesis of what happens, you have a theory. What they did was they made the evidence match what they thought. So, they walked in, probably already had somewhat of an idea of what they thought happened, and they made the evidence match what they thought happened. That's not how you do it. You have a hypothesis and you either A, find the evidence to match it, or B, you come up with a new hypothesis because that's what the evidence is showing.
Right.
It was like the last episode where they just assumed it was a burglary gone wrong. The cops did and didn't want to think of anything else. They already went in with a predetermined thought, and that's what they went with. That is what the fire investigators in this case did. They went in with a pre-made thought and basically made the evidence match what they already thought, and then ignored the actual truth of what the evidence was showing them. Today, they actually believe this case would have been undetermined.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There's always a possibility that was the space heater, but there
Yeah.
are so many factors. Like, they think if anything, this was just an accidental fire. They don't think it was actually set. They think it was accidental.
So a man died for something that probably was an accident.
Yep.
That's shitty.
And some
I mean,
things they. No,
I
you
know
go.
space heaters are crazy. Like, especially the older ones, they were all metal on the front, so you couldn't have them around anything, like anything at all. And even like the newer ones we had 25 years ago, I think I wasn't there for it, but I'm pretty sure that she had accidentally set something on fire from her space heater. Like, just it caught really quickly. So I know space heaters are crazy.
And they did say that there's actually a few more things that they would do. For starters, they would have taken any of the clothes that they were wearing and sampled them just to see if there was any kind of ignition on them. I didn't know this. There are actually arson dogs that can
Oh,
point out
really?
certain fuels, like how we have
I didn't
drug
know they
dogs.
had dogs like that.
I didn't either. So they said if this was the potential of a homicide, they would have had dogs run the house and confirm it.
Like that was a thing back then, or is that just something
No,
they do now?
back then and today.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Like cadaver dogs, where they can smell human decomposition remains.
Like in
Kristen
the
Smart.
San Luis Obispo. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Sure.
the town I can't pronounce. They actually believe that if a fire was looked at today the way these detectives looked at it back then, it wouldn't even make it to court. The courts would throw it out because of how shitty it was done.
That says a lot.
hmm So there was also a few interesting things that they pointed out. Texas actually started a state fire team in October of 1991, and the team worked on this case, and then the governor disbanded it right before the execution.
See, how?
Something tells me they figured it out, and they didn't want to accept it. They said, "Oh shit,
But
you found out. We were wrong. Bye."
yeah, the governor didn't want to be proven wrong.
So they also decided to nitpick some of the things that was wrong with the people. For one, it didn't help that the defense attorney thought he was guilty, which I remember pointing it out. He went into the case saying in his own mind, well, this guy's guilty, so what does it matter?
Yeah, you can't do that. You're literally paid to prove somebody wrong, not to just think that they're sorry. You are literally paid to think somebody is not guilty. It
And
doesn't help
fight
when you
for
go
that.
in there think they are guilty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they learned that actually Stacy was very mentally abusive towards Cameron. So like he was physically abusive, she was mentally abusive.
The wife.
Yeah, they should not have been together. And I think they're right reading everything, how they met and everything. They were both very mentally immature. They had a lot of things that they needed to fix and they should have never been together. There's also the weird fact that they never interviewed Stacy.
They didn't. I
No.
thought they did.
They spoke with her, but they didn't actually interview her. They just spoke to her about her relationship with him.
Is it
And
because they're like, oh, she was out Christmas shopping?
probably. But there was never an actual like legitimate police interview done with Stacy.
Well, they went wrong there.
Yeah. So when they spoke with like the puddles where they found the way, it said the room had irregular sharp char patterns. These char patterns were known as pour patterns or puddle configurations. This meant either a flammable or combustible liquid was poured onto the floor. That's not true. It's the wear and tear of the floor. So if like the spots where it was the path they walked more, it's going to be worn down, so it's going to burn differently than a fresh area of carpet.
Because it doesn't have all the material like the rest of it.
hmm Or
Okay.
something could have been on that area already, like a doll or maybe like a doll's shirt, and there would have been a little bit more of a fuel source than anywhere else, and so it would have burned differently.
Okay, that makes sense.
A lot of it, like I said back then, is just they didn't do things right. They jumped to conclusion. They didn't try to think of anything else. They actually right away went and tried to rule out everything accidental. That's not what you're supposed to do.
Can't go in there with a game plan.
You can't. You go in there, you collect the evidence, and you let the evidence tell the story. You don't have the story written and then find the evidence to make it true. And I actually believe, like as much as I honestly kind of believe Stacy did do it, there is also a part of me that believes this also could have very much just been accidental. I'm gonna take a random guess and say Amber had something too close to the heater. The heater caught fire. The blanket or whatever was near the heater caught fire because there's so much burning material. I meant there's 3 beds in there, all the girls' clothes, all the girls' toys. I think it helped the room burn faster. The room flashed. Cameron went in there, introduced extra air and oxygen in, and then basically the smoke followed him out, and the heat from the smoke is what helped burn everything. And then it just didn't spread to any other part of the house because the fire team got there and put it out.
It's really sad because just before the fire broke out, one of the girls went to their dad and had said something to him, and then they went back into the room. So they were probably playing through something that got near or on the
Amber was in his
space
room.
heater
They
when the
found
fire broke out.
they not when it broke out, but they found Amber in the room.
I thought they found both kids in their room,
He
in the
has
kids'
3
room.
kids. 2
Oh,
twins in the order Amber. He found the twins in the room. I think Amber woke up. Amber started playing. Amber left something in front of the heater. The fire started. She probably panicked. She's a child.
yeah.
And I just think the smoke was too much from her. And I think she ended up passing out. Like, I think the daddy was her last thing of help. And then, more than likely, when he got up, he probably immediately started walking towards the end of the bed. And if Amber had been by his side, he might not even realize she was right behind him. Because with all the smoke, I bet he almost like jumped out of bed.
Yeah, and didn't look at his surroundings.
He just started going forward. And I will say, I just realized I corrected myself. So the kid's room door would have already been opened, but it probably followed Amber out into his room and then followed him outside. And I think that's how it spread everywhere. And obviously, fire's going to go towards the biggest oxygen source, which was outside.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then,
think going over this case this way just makes you realize like how simple a fire spreads, how easy it can be, and how careful everybody needs to be.
yeah, I mean, that's like why for like my stove, I don't like having that many things around it. Like, I don't put a bunch of paperwork by it.
I was trying to remember what your stove looked like. I was like, isn't it next to a wall?
Well, besides the wall, because everything can catch so quickly. Do you
Hmm?
have carpet? Do you have wood? Do you keep your house clean? Do you have a bunch of clothes all over the ground? Do you have kids who leave their toys everywhere? It's a sad way to think about it, but you do, and I'm like, is this an ignition source? It's like if I have my space heater on when I'm in my office and I leave, I like even just to go upstairs, I always double check that my blanket's not near it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Another crappy part of like fire starters, curling irons, straighteners or air fryers, they're so easy.
mm,
My daughter leaves her straightener on all the time.
oh, I don't even leave my like actual space heater plugged into the wall. When I go to bed at night, just to be on the safe side, I not only turn the heater off, I unplug it. Just
You do
because
that to like almost everything though.
I don't do it to the lights anymore. Look, I'm saving electricity, okay? And like, what am I supposed to do if I'm at the bottom of the county and my house catches on fire? I got
Good thing the fire station's right next to
I
it.
got precious life in my house. It's my
Yes, you
dog and
do.
cat. Speaking of cat,
Oh, hi, Jeffrey. That's her kitty cat.
yes, he's a big boy.
Big fluffy cat. Alrighty. Is that everything? Is that all the investigators said?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was a lot of good information.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit more that they said to me, but some of what they said to me, they used another case to explain it. So obviously, I can't talk about that because they're active cases.
Yeah, no, we know we can't talk about active cases. That's a no-no.
No, but
Shame,
it
shame.
was really interesting to see their perspective on it, and like just the fact that back then it was, oh, it's murder, and today they're gonna be like, no, it's just gonna be undetermined. Like it's gonna be hard to prove what even happened. Like more than likely it's accidental, but if anything, they're like looking at and reading everything, they said murder was the farthest thing for them.
And it's crazy how far that the training has gone to where they can hear or read all this and know that it had been accidental and not anywhere close to being
hmm
murder.
But it's also crazy that literally less than a year after this happens, the manual that tells them that they're wrong was released, and they didn't go back with the new information. That's the other thing. Like, you have this holy fire investigation Bible that's put out, and you don't go back with the new science to look over everything when you know this guy's on death row.
The governor did not want to be
You
proven wrong.
I mean, you take notes, you take photos, you could have easily turned around. And I wouldn't even sit there and say, well, we were wrong. New science was introduced. We looked at it a different way. We're changing our answer.
Yeah, that would have been just fine.
That
Doesn't say you're wrong.
No, it's like when DNA finally came a thing. A lot of people redid investigations when after they could test DNA. It's not that they
Hmm.
were wrong, it's just something new for them
Yeah, you have a new line of information. Not information, but I can't think.
of technology to use.
Yeah, we'll go with that one.
We'll just use technology to use. But, and just know, guys, Sam actually had to listen to me read from handwritten notes because I didn't want her to see anything in advance. She is learning everything just as you guys are.
I mean, I learn everything the same as they are because
Yeah,
I
but
don't
you get
even
it.
read ahead, and
Oh.
I don't read ahead on the stuff you
Oh, I thought you did.
type out. No, no, I like learning the story with everybody else. That's why
Oh.
sometimes I'm so quiet because I'm shocked. I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Plot
But
twist.
then I go back and listen to the episodes, like while I'm in the car, and I'm like arguing with us, or like things I should have said on the show, and I'm like, why didn't I say this then? And oh yeah, it's because I'm learning it as we're going.
Hey, I'm learning too. I think you'll be
So
really excited for the next episode. Actually,
as
the
long as they're no
episode
kids.
16 is pretty funny in a way. The ending is like, yes. Episode 17 is another big plot twist, and it's somewhat famous.
Okay,
So
sounds fun.
you'll be
Looking forward
interested.
to
You'll
it.
love the names too. They're really pretty and old timey.
I like old timey.
I know.
Yay.
But so that is our bonus episode. I am hoping that potentially we can get more episodes like this where I get to sit down and talk with someone, and eventually the goal is actually to have them come on and record with us so that we can ask them in real time, and especially for Sam, so that she can really learn even more.
Hey, I'm not
You like to learn. That's what I'm saying.
okay. I feel like you're calling me dumb.
No, You have a very inquisitive mind. You like to learn these things.
I do like to learn new things.
So, like for you, I think it would be even more enjoyable because you'll be getting answers firsthand.
Yeah, it would be fun. But anyways, as a reminder, socials are up and running. We have Facebook, Instagram, and you can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon, and the wonderful YouTube. Please remember to comment and to like or rate the pages, and it will help spread our podcast out. If we're able to hit 500 streams, there may be some merch that will potentially start popping up for us to hand out, or like not hand out but ship out.
Yes,
If you have
Sam's
any
already seen
stories,
them.
yes, I have, they're awesome. If you have any stories you want to share or any cases you want to hear covered, please message us on our socials or email us at deadandwrongpodcast@gmail.com. And I would like to add in, if you got our podcast card in Vegas, let us know. We want to know you're here. I want to know that, our little
Sam
army
wants to
buddies
know it
are around.
worked.
I want to know it worked. But also, like, I met a lot of people. It's fun when you get to,
It is. I've gone to a concert like that before, and it's so much fun. You make so many
it's
friends.
so much fun.
It is.
But, anyways, we will see you this Sunday for another episode full of all things
Dead.
dead. All
Bye, guys.
right, bye.